This is Deanna.
This is Candace.
And you're listening to
No Fucking Way. I'm back to watching shows. I've not watched a show all year.
What are you watching?
I started watching The Bear.
Oh, is it good? I keep hearing about that.
It's really, 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 really good. Especially like I think I saw someone say, "Oh, I'm just not into like restaurant stuff. Like I don't care about that." And I understand that, but it's got so much more to do with the characters and like outside of their work and stuff. But I did work in restaurants, so it's even more fun for me. It's very it's pretty real, like the way that it portrays like what it's like in a kitchen. I think like it's really good. It's really, really good. And I also wanted to start watching it because people think that guy's so hot, Jeremy.
Yeah, I was gonna ask if you're falling in love with him yet.
Yeah, I do like him a lot. He's really great in this show. So basically, like his brother he's like a world-class chef, and his brother owned this little sandwich shop in Chicago, but like a really popular sandwich shop, and his brother dies. And so he like leaves this like top restaurant, like the best restaurant in the world, to go work at this little sandwich shop. It's really, really good. Like everyone, all the staff and everything, like all the characters are really good. I love it. I watched the entire season yesterday. Because the episodes are only 30 minutes too.
Oh, so that goes by quick. Probably.
Yeah. And then I watched, it's not over yet, but I started watching Love is Blind UK. Deanna, the hottest guy I've ever seen in my whole entire life. Like out of every person I've met personally, out of every celebrity,
really,
he's so fucking hot.
What's his name?
Okay, his name is Freddie. I'm gonna send him you a picture
My
of him.
contact information? No, I'm just kidding.
I just cannot believe how hot this guy is. And he's so like, when he first came onto the screen, I gasped, and my sister was here visiting, and I was like, what on earth? Like, why is everyone not making a bigger deal about this? And he's fucking ripped. He looks like a Ken doll. And he's so sweet and like kind, and he doesn't drink and he doesn't go out. I'm like, there's something. Like, what is gonna be the
serial
thing?
Killer.
That would be kind of hot. In like a Ted Bundy kind of way, because he's so good looking. I would get over it. If he had killed someone, I would get over it.
I mean, just looking at this picture, I would say he's good looking, but I'm not that.
No. You gotta watch it.
Yeah.
I'm literally watching.
See it.
I'm literally watching just for him. But it's actually really good. The drama is really good.
Okay.
That's it. That's all I watched.
I just think that on Love is Blind, they need to throw in like a few uglies. Most of the people on the show are at least average to very attractive.
I mean, I definitely think some people are ugly. Like Jeremy from last season. That was with what's her Megan Fox face? He was so ugly. Jeremy, right? Wasn't that his name?
His name wasn't Jeremy. His name was Jimmy.
Oh, Jimmy. Yeah. He was
like average. Like he wasn't ugly, but I think he wasn't anyone I would ever like do a double take or anything.
No, never at all. I mean, he was like a hard 4. Right? Right?
Yeah, I'd give him a 5. I'd give him an even 5.
I've seen some uglies on there. But I know what you mean. Maybe someone that is like not a size 6.
Right. I want
not
some
that's
fatties.
Ugly, but like, let's get some like dimension. Let's get
some larger people. Some people with
let's get someone in a wheelchair.
Yeah, disabilities. Is
Could
love
you
really blind? That's what I wanna know.
right, love
Sure,
yeah,
love can be
right.
blind when the person, like, is a 6. I
When
mean,
you're a
we you
5,
know.
right, you just yeah, you just get on board with that, that's fine. A lot of us are just 5s.
Yeah, exactly.
It's fine.
So,
I do agree with that, though.
I think it'd make things a lot more interesting.
I've really enjoyed the Love Is Blind UK, though, it's fun. I just love the way they talk so much.
I don't
I wonder
love
if they
that.
oh my god, I love it so much. I wonder if they like the way we talk.
I don't know, I don't think they do.
Or you know how we were, so because Cassidy was here last weekend, so we started watching it together, and how they will start talking to each other, and they'll be like, "Oh, you're from la la la." I'm like, "How do they know that?" Because they all sound the same to
Oh,
us.
yeah.
Like, "Oh, you're from
Oi!
North Oi, you're from Northern Wales, eh?" I'm like, "How do you know that? They sound exactly like you sound." But then Cassidy was like, "It's like when we're talking to someone from Boston, we're like, oh, Jesus, that's a
Oh,
horse.
yeah,
Oh,
exactly,
you're from
yeah.
Boston, huh?" But it's still English, but it has such a different, like, like, twang to it. Or someone that's from, like, Louisiana. Yeesh.
If you're a listener and you're in the UK, do you like our accents or not? Please let us know. Write in to the pod or leave a 5-star review and tell
My
us in a
friend
review.
my friend Laura that's from the Netherlands used to, like, act like she couldn't well, okay, she wasn't acting, but she, like, wouldn't be able to understand a lot of things that, like, really country people said.
Mhm.
Like, my
Yeah,
parents, for instance. Like, they would be
right.
talking to her my dad would say something to her and then walk away, and she'd be like, "What?"
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So, I mean, we also use, like, a lot of just, like, not real words and, like, slang, and
Yeah, that's
I can
true.
see that. But, yeah, I would love to know that if we have any, listeners from across the sea.
According to the analytics, we do, so
One time I went to, the beach with my roommate and another girl that we worked with, and me and my roommate, the whole entire weekend, talked in British accent in, like, Pensacola, Florida, and people were beside themselves. They were so, "Oh my god. What Howard did you find Pensacola? What are you doing here?" We kept it up the whole weekend. And our other friend that was with us was pissed off. She hated it and she was like screaming to people that we weren't actually British, and we would act like she was so crazy for saying that. I'm like, "I yes, I am." She's so drunk. She's crazy. It was
oh my
so
god.
I highly recommend that. Next time you go out, just use an accent. It's so fun the way people, like, treat you and talk to you versus if you're just, like, someone that's from here. Like, everybody wanted to talk to us. It's really
I think
funny.
I'd be their friend that would be like, "Oh my god, shut up. You're not
Yes.
from there."
Yes, for sure. She thought it was funny, like, the first hour in, like, the cab, and then at dinner, and then at the hotel, and then at the bar, and then at brunch the next day. She was like, "Seriously, shut the fuck up."
Yeah.
She's like, "They're from Georgia." That was really funny. Maybe I'll do that when I go to the Avril Lavigne concert.
Okay.
I guess I'm only gonna be talking to, like, you guys, though.
Yeah.
So that'd be annoying.
Um, I was gonna ask you something. If you could pick one song, like you have to only listen to one song for the rest of your life. Do you know what song you would pick?
Is it playing all day long? Or it's like
No,
if I
just
wanna
anytime you
listen
listen to music, you have to listen to the song only.
do I have a song? It would probably have to be something, like, comforting. I'd probably pick a Backstreet Boys song. Just something that I know
Something nostalgic.
yeah, just something that I've known the longest that I'm just saying that because that's probably what I've listened to for the longest, and I'm not tired of it. So I'd probably
Yeah,
pick a good old BSB.
that's a good idea to pick
Thank
something
you.
that,
Lots of different people in it that I
yeah,
can listen to also, different
right.
voices. Yeah. What about you?
Shit, I don't know. I don't know what I would pick.
Oh, what's your question?
I didn't anticipate you throwing it back at me like that. uh, I don't know. Probably a sleep token song because sleep token songs are really long and a lot of times they almost sound like two songs in one. You know, like it'll start slow and then
Oh,
get faster, or yeah,
are they new?
yeah, new-ish, I think.
Okay, I was gonna say because I've never ever heard of them before, but you and also Kristen really,
Oh,
really likes them.
really?
Yeah,
Kristen and I have so much in common. I'm
I
surprised that me and
know.
her are
Yeah.
friends.
Oh, also she's sober.
She is. Good
Yeah,
job,
like
Kristen.
4 months or something. She just told
Wow,
me.
proud of you.
I
Proud of
know. So
you.
yeah, you guys would have a lot of fun. Like all the things that I say to you, no, I don't really want to go, are kind of like the same things I say to her when she asks me. I'm like, no, I don't really want to go.
You should
Then you
you
guys
should
text
link
each
us
other.
up one day.
Yeah,
You should be
seriously.
like, you know what? I'm giving you Deanna's number.
I don't really want to go with you, but I know who would. But truly, I think you guys would be friends.
All right. Well, you ready for me to get into my story?
I am. I love this kind of. Maybe you could win a bet one day where I'll have to do a month of stories.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to find something to bet with you. But then my luck would be that I would lose again.
Lose your
Damn
own bet.
it.
Oh, that would be funny.
Have you watched the documentary Tell Them You Love Me?
No, I
Okay.
was going to. I'm glad I didn't.
Well, it doesn't have anything to do with what I'm going to talk about, but I was just curious. No, I'm kidding.
Oh,
No, but
I'm like, oh, we're not done talking about about shows
no.
that we watch.
Yeah, so that's what I want to talk about today. I wanted to find something kind of like medical to talk about because I was like, oh, I've done so much like murder stuff lately,
Yeah.
and then I don't know, I couldn't help it make it a medical slash crime situation. So if you haven't seen like the previews or anything, I'm gonna have to give you like a little bit of background on each of the people in the documentary, and then we'll kind of get into like what the whole thing is about. So I guess you could say the point of the documentary is about this guy named Derrick Johnson, and he was born with cerebral palsy. So at first, when he was born, they didn't really notice anything off about him except as he started to get a little bit older, his mom said that like he wouldn't do the things that he should do. He couldn't hold his head up, he couldn't hold a bottle, and the doctor was like, you're just comparing him to your older son, you know, just give him some time, he'll come to his own, come on his own to do these things. And
Hmm.
eventually he started to have seizures, so they started doing tests on him and stuff, and he did wind up getting diagnosed with cerebral palsy. So he was also he's also nonverbal. I don't know if all people with cerebral palsy are nonverbal or not, um, but they were, because he was nonverbal, they're unable to assess his cognitive level. But despite being nonverbal, he did become really close with his older brother. Like his older brother would go get him off the bus and carry him on his back, and they were just kind of like buds. Like they would do everything together. Now, the other kind of main person in this documentary, her name is Anna Stubblefield. She was a American Studies professor at Rutgers University, and Derek's older brother John was actually one of her students. So Anna, for a little bit of background on her, her mom did like a lot of work with people that were disabled, and so that was something that she was always interested in, and that's kind of what she turned her focus to when she got older was disability studies, and that was one of the classes that she had, and that was a class that John was in. And one day she played this documentary about something called facilitated communication. So, facilitated communication is where a person with a disability is sort of like assisted in typing responses on a keyboard, and they're basically given an opportunity to communicate that they've never had before. So, obviously, this really intrigued John, because he was like, I could know if my brother is um, struggling, or if he's in pain or something, if we could communicate, like it would be great to be able to communicate with my brother. And in the documentary that they watched, um, there was this woman who had like severe autism, and she was pretty much nonverbal, but she was able to, like, with this facilitated communication, which is basically where the person that's doing the facilitating, they're holding the person's like elbow or pressing their shoulder so that they don't have tremors as bad
Mm,
when they're trying to type. And it's just
mhm.
kind of giving them an opportunity to be a little more steady when they're trying to type their responses. But anyway, so the girl in the documentary, she was like wound up like going and like getting a degree. She got her bachelor's degree, and it was like pretty amazing that she went from being like nonverbal to being able to get a degree. So John was really hopeful that maybe they could at least communicate, have Derrick communicate. So Anna was going to set something up, but it was going to be kind of expensive for the family. So she was like, if you'd like, I can come meet your brother and we can try to do some things and see if it would even be like a good idea. So what she did was she kind of like cut out pictures of things and would ask him a question like, do you know which one of these things is a spoon, or that kind of thing. And she was also very like, she would ask the questions like, I don't want you to think that I think that you're stupid because you just can't communicate. That was her big thing, was just
Mhm.
because someone can't verbalize doesn't mean that they're not intelligent.
Right.
And they could have all of this whole entire like thought process and all of these things that they can't even express, but people treat people with disabilities like they're babies because they
Yeah.
can't speak, and it's
Mhm.
not really fair to them as human beings. So she's like trying to be as gentle about it as possible, and he was able to do some of that. And then she was able to get a handle on what his literacy was. She wrote out some of the letters, and she wrote them in lowercase, and he was able to identify, like, she would put down different letters, like 4 letters, and he would like spell out words. Like, she would be like, spell out as many words as you can, and he would spell like cat and bat, like that kind of thing. Those like word games that you and I play every day.
Yeah.
So it was looking pretty promising. So she wound up getting a keyboard, so she could try to do the facilitated communication with him. And it's like a keyboard with an LCD display. And she noticed that when she would ask him, like, she asked him to point out the A, and he typed the H. And she realized that the letters that she had previously written down were in lowercase, and all the letters on the keyboard were uppercase. So she felt like she had to
Mm,
teach him kind of like the difference. So she would tell him, like, no, that's H, this is A, and kind of like teach him. And she said, like, he picked it up immediately, what she was saying.
mhm.
So um, she asked him something like, what do you want me to call you? And he wrote D man on the keyboard. And she asked Derek's mother, Daisy, what does this mean? He put D man. Does that mean anything to you? And apparently, he had had some kind of like physical therapist or something that was kind of helping him with walking and stuff. He called him D man. So he was kind of expressing that. And so she's like, okay. So but then it was really weird because, okay, and this is important, Anna is white and Derek is black. And this
Okay.
becomes like important later when people start talking about kind of the racial disparities and stuff like that. But she like she's like calls him D-man instead of D-man the entire documentary. And like the comments that I saw from people, they thought it was hilarious that she would try to, because she's obviously this like hoity-toity professor or this white lady. She doesn't want to be like, hey D-man, she's like D-man. She's trying to make it sound all
Oh.
like classy and oh his
Oh,
D-man.
okay.
But anyway, so um everything that was typed on this thing that they're using, by the way, it's called a Neo. It was saved in its memory. So there's like, I guess, evidence of their conversations,
Mhm.
you could say. So they initially met in 2009, and over the course of about a year, he went from like being able to answer with like a word or two words to a whole sentence and then paragraphs. And by the end of that year, she felt like he was able to have more expressive conversation. And this is a quote, I think, from the Neo. He says, "Please understand that I know you are proud of me, but I prefer not being looked at like a much improved model." And I felt like that was really sad because everyone's like looking at him like, oh, this is great. And he's like, well, this is always who I've been. And you just didn't know. Like, stop looking at it like I'm better
Mhm.
now just because of
Right,
this.
like, you didn't make me.
Yeah, right.
You have nothing to do with
Right.
what I'm portraying.
So she figured, and she told the family, like, he knows all of these things because he's picking it up from being around the family and watching TV and movies and stuff. Like that's how he knows a lot of the stuff. And apparently, he expressed that he wanted to get a formal education. So Anna suggested this African American literature course that happened on Saturdays, and Anna would sit with him, and he would like type an answer. Like if he wanted to respond to a question in class, he would type an answer, and she would like raise her hand and speak the answer for him. And one time he typed something and she felt like it didn't make sense. So she kind of changed the answer like when she was speaking it, and it pissed him
Mhm.
off. And he was like, that's not what I wrote. Don't do that ever again. Like say what I type. Don't try to change it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so she felt really bad, and she said she would never do that again, that she would never speak for him again. But she found another student, not a student in the class. It was a student just at the school who could sit with him for a couple of hours and help him with his homework. So she would basically give him like a book to read, and then he would do the homework with the girl. She was helping him do the typing.
Mhm.
And Sharonda did not take the class. She was just there for support. So, I mean, I find it interesting that if he was able to, and he's not writing like she was like he wasn't writing these like super high level essays. I mean,
Mhm.
it was simplistic answers to the questions, but you could tell he understood from the reading what was happening, like who's the main character and what
Yeah.
happened in the story. So, Sharonda, she kind of reported like, okay, like she would say we did really good. We got a lot done today. And it would be maybe a couple of paragraphs of something that he wrote. So after about a year after he started typing, he was asked to participate in this panel. And during this panel, Anna brought him into one of her classes, and she was having people like ask him questions. And someone asked him, what about like love and relationships? Like, would you ever want to have a relationship? And he basically said something like, you someone with my type of a disability would never be able to have a relationship. And Anna had started kind of getting feelings for Derrick because, she's like learning all this stuff about him. And her marriage wasn't great, but she said she wasn't looking to like end her marriage or step outside of her marriage, but she felt like she really enjoyed his company and she was really impressed by him. And when she heard him answer that question, she felt like responding like, you could have that with me. And so when she had that feeling, she said to herself that she was going to have to like think about that and like what that meant, and
Mhm.
how she would like express that to him, because she was married and she had 2 kids. So one day she tells him that she loves him, and he tells her that he loves her too. And then Derrick asks her to kiss him. So she did, and then he asked her to kiss him again, and um, she did. And this is also, so she's spending a lot of time with him. She's spending a lot of time around her family. His family started noticing that Anna, they felt Anna was changing Derrick. Like one day they were all riding in the car, and Derrick's mom was playing gospel music on the radio. And as far as they were concerned, Derrick liked gospel music because he seemed to enjoy it, at church and things like that. And Anna changed the station to classical music and was like, this is what Derrick likes. Derrick doesn't like gospel
Uh-oh.
music. And then also, um, one time they were said something about Derrick having a beer, and she was like, Derrick doesn't like beer. Derrick likes wine. And they're like, that was just so weird because like we're his family, we know better. And also she said one time something about Derrick being a vegetarian, and his mom was like, what? I've never
What?
known Derrick to be a vegetarian. We're like, what the hell are you talking about?
I'd be like, "Bitch, aren't you his teacher?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
why do you know all these personal things?"
But on one hand, I kind of get it because Anna is the one doing the facilitated communication, right? Like the family
Yeah.
had tried to do it with him and they weren't able to get the same results as her.
Yeah.
And she just has kind of this knack for communication. So I'll kind of go ahead and insert this. There's this person in the documentary. Her name is Deva Kasnitz, and she has a disability. She has something called torsion dystonia, and it makes it very difficult for her to talk. It makes it difficult for her to walk. But she says the most disabling part of her condition is her speech, because without communication, you can't do anything else. And she knows Anna, and she's like, Anna has this way that nobody else does, where, when you're listening to someone talk, a lot of times you're kind of thinking, like, trying to figure out what they're going to say next instead of just listening. She's like, Anna
Mhm.
is such a good listener. She has a way of like not imposing what her thoughts are on what you're going to say, which is with someone like her disability. If you hear her talk, she speaks very slowly and it's really hard to understand her. And I even found myself like listening to her during the documentary, trying to think like what is she gonna say? You're trying to kind of skip ahead because they're going so slow. And she's like,
Mhm.
Anna doesn't do that. She's just so good at communication, and I've never known anybody else like that. So I guess that's kind of speaking to Anna and her character on, that's how she's able to do this facilitated communication so well, because she's just so good at like reading people and knowing like, not knowing what they're going to say, but allowing them to give their message instead of putting her own message on.
Yeah.
So they, um, Derrick starts saying that he wants to move out of Daisy's, his mother's house, and he wants to live in basically like an assisted living facility. And the family started kind of feeling like, whoa, like, no, he's going to live, Daisy, the mother, she's like, he's going to live with me forever. He's my baby. I'm taking care of him. No one else can take care of him like me. She's kind of offended that that would even be brought up, but it's
Mhm.
allegedly something that Derrick wants to do. And Anna was pushing it. So there's starting to be this kind of like conflict with the family and Anna because they think she's kind of overstepping her boundaries. And
Right.
John, the student and the big brother, he's like, well, I think I'm going to have a conversation with Anna about boundaries and, how we're going to move forward. Well, then something happens. One day while Daisy is gone and it's just Derrick and Anna at the house, Anna says that Derrick wanted to have sex, and
No.
he expressed that he wanted to have sex and that he was ready. And she told him, like, take all the time that you need, like, because they kind of started kissing. And she said he kind of seemed like uncomfortable at first. And she was like, I don't know your body. You tell me what you need. I can't, I don't want to push you too hard. I don't want to do anything that you don't want me to do. So he asked if he could touch her breast, and she said yes. And then he asked if she would take her shirt off, and she did. And then he asked her to get naked. And um, he asked her if his condition would make it to where they couldn't have sex. And she was like, well, there's only one way to find out.
Miss
And
Anna.
I know. I
Oh
know.
my god, lady.
Now, mind you, okay, there's not too big of an age gap. Not that that part really matters because Derek's like cognitively disabled. He's like 30 and she's 40 at this time. He's 33 and she's 40. So they do the deed.
No.
And apparently, there's another time where they go to her office and they do the deed there as well. And Memorial Day weekend comes up. This is now 2 years into her like knowing Derek and doing all of this stuff. So Memorial Day comes up. She was going to be with him to have a meeting about his independent living situation that they were trying to get for him. And she asked Derek, do you think we should tell them about our relationship? And he said that he did want to go ahead and tell them.
Tell
So
who?
while his mom and his brother.
Oh my god, no.
So they're sitting there talking about Derek going into this assisted living thing. And she's like, well, we have something to tell you. And Derek types on the little keyboard, like,
No.
we're in love. And uh, Anna says, we made love.
Is she still married?
Yes, she's still married. So Anna's like, we're in love and we had sex or we made love or however she said it. I think she
I
said we made
hate
love.
I hate that
I
saying.
know. We made love. And
No, you did not.
Daisy, she said, Derek is a man in every sense of the word. And
Stop.
Daisy said she had to sit on her hands. And she's like, you did what? And so she explains like what they did. And then in Anna's words, John asked like if they used protection and kind of like asked a few questions and then he walked away. Now in John's words in the documentary, John was like, I was pissed off. I couldn't
Yeah.
believe that this lady raped my brother because they see it as rape, being that he's in their eyes so cognitively
Oh my
disabled.
god.
And they were pretty pissed off and they were like, you're not ever coming over here again. But Anna was like, no, no, no. I want to live with Derek. I'm going to leave my husband and I want a life with Derek. And they were like, no, you're done. So she leaves a few voicemails and they make this sound like really weird when they're talking about it. But she says something like, Daisy, if you want me to like sign in blood, like the date that I'm going to like say I'm going to leave my husband, and start a life with Derrick, then that's what I'll do. And I think the only thing what she's trying to get across there is like, I understand that me being married is a problem, and like if you want me to make a commitment to a day where I'm going to be divorced or I'm going to tell my husband about this, I'll do that. Um
Oh my god.
but
Wait, was the family, like, paying her to
no,
oh, so
they
this is
weren't.
just on her own
Yeah, it was
free
just on her own because
free will?
John was like her student, and it
Yeah,
initially kind of started off as like this, hey, can you help us kind of
yeah,
thing. And then she started
right.
to enjoy it, I think. Obviously,
Clearly.
a little bit too much.
Clearly.
She started really enjoying it after a while, and
Oh my
she was just
god.
doing it for free. So John started questioning the facilitated communication, and he started thinking about how him and his mom Daisy weren't able to do it. Like when they tried to do the facilitate communication, it didn't work out as well.
Mhm.
And he decided to kind of look into it, and then found out that there was a documentary that came out, and there's basically been it's been disproven. It's been debunked that basically there was a study done where the facilitator was shown an image and the person with a disability was shown the image, and they were different images. And the facilitator would type both times like it was a hat when she saw a hat, but the person with a disability saw a dog.
Oh,
So they're basically just typing what they want to type. They're not really typing what the person wants them to type.
right.
So even though they're not doing this consciously, like it's all subconscious. They just think it's kind of like a Ouija board.
Mhm.
If you don't believe in Ouija boards, someone's moving the little thingy to the letters that they want to spell out. That's kind of this, but it's like subconscious. They're not necessarily meaning to do it, but
Yeah,
they are. But there's also some people that are like not like the lady that I talked about with the dystonia.
yeah.
She is helped by this because she can't necessarily always like say the words. So she's like, I can tell you this is what I'm saying or not. Like there are some people who can. So
Right.
there's just like kind of a spectrum of how disabled people are. It's kind of hard to say. I think it could definitely help some people, but then other people like Derrick, who has been assessed and basically has the mind of a 6 to 12 month old baby, according to this doctor.
Oh,
It's like he's saying he's 6 to 12 months old, but yet there's other people that are saying no, he's clearly identifying these different things, or he's clearly like trying to communicate.
right.
But
Honestly,
there's like,
12-month-old asking a woman to take her shirt off.
I know. But see, that's where Anna comes in. It's like, did Anna want to have a relationship with him so bad that she was subconsciously like making him type these things?
Mhm. Anna.
Well, once John realizes that this was the case, he went to the dean because also, so he said they were going to let it go and they weren't going to pursue any like legal action or anything. But Anna tried to contact Derrick basically through his like that he goes to like this day program for people with disabilities. She contacted one of the people that works there and was kind of like, "Will you let me see Derrick?" Like she was still obsessed weeks later after them trying not to have any contact with her. She was still obsessed with trying to get in contact. So that pissed him off, and he's like, "You know what? I'm going to the dean of the school and I'm going to tell her what happened." And then they also went to um, basically the law and reported her. So they had Daisy call on a recorded line and ask Anna, like, tell me about this relationship, and she said Derrick wasn't being himself and started asking her like details about like when they had sex and how many times, and this is all recorded and Anna has no idea that it's being recorded.
Oh my god.
So she's giving her details, and basically they come pick her up and ask her some questions, and then when they bring her back, um, someone from the school is there and they're like, you're suspended from teaching here for inappropriate relations with a man who has mental retardation. Hey, and you know what, that's what they said in the documentary, so that's what I'm saying,
Also,
okay.
it's even more weird to think that, like, if she were typing things for him just because she knows, like, the conversations are always in there, like, recorded or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
like, how even more that would be even more strange that she's, like that she would want a relationship with him so badly, but, like, he to be speaking for him, to be like, he doesn't want a relationship with you maybe.
Right, yeah.
But, like, how that's so weird to think about, that you would want a relationship with him so badly that you would be speaking for him like that.
And
If that is the case, like, if that is what happened, I don't know. But
I know, and I don't
what the
know.
fuck?
I will say this, and I'm not excusing anything that she did, but she comes across to me as like, I think she genuinely believes that he was giving those
Oh.
messages. Like, I think she thinks that he was. Even if he wasn't, I think she thinks he was.
Oh.
Hang on, there's a
A cat fight.
cat fight. Did you hear it?
Yeah.
Okay, I hear Cody, so he has it under control. But anyway, um, yeah, it's just hard to say if like what reality is. It's hard to know, but I
Yeah.
do think that she thinks he was typing. At least that's how she comes across in the documentary,
Right,
you know.
right,
And like, I don't know this lady at all,
right.
but like her parents believe her. Her parents are behind her. Her
Of
daughter is
course.
behind her. Um,
How old were her kids? They
her
older?
kids, I think, at the time of all of this happening, were like 8 and 10 when she first met him, and then I think
Mhm.
when this kind of all went down, obviously, like her daughter, like I think was 12.
Is her
But
husband in there at all, saying, like, "What the fuck?"
okay, yeah, so about that. So while all of this is going down, they're questioning Anna. They're sending people over to her house with a search warrant. And this is the first her husband hears of anything.
No.
Yeah. He didn't know
No.
anything was going on. He didn't know she was having an affair, that it was with this guy who had cerebral palsy. He didn't know anything. And apparently, I saw this thing, not it wasn't in the documentary, but I've read this afterwards. They went to counseling but after
Oh.
this happened, her and her husband, while she was, because she wound up getting charged. So while she was waiting for court, I guess they went to counseling, and he thought that she was gonna let it go, and she didn't, and I don't know the whole situation, but
What exactly was she charged with?
she was charged with, let me find what the actual charge was. 2 counts of first-degree aggravated sexual assault, which is the equivalent of rape in New Jersey.
Ooh, yowza. But is that because she was his mentor? Because he was disabled?
Because he was
Because
disabled. And so the
but
state is
even
saying he's not able to consent because he's disabled.
even though they have, like, their conversation in his little computer?
Well, the thing is, that is like debatable because
So you can
there are
just not have
experts.
you just can't have sex if you're disabled?
There are experts who say that facilitated communication isn't true. So actually, no facilitated communication stuff could come in at her trial. The judge banned
What?
that. Yeah.
Why?
So she couldn't say he was typing these messages to me. She could only say I was working with him and
Wait,
like
that's
I
crazy.
believe
That's
yeah,
how he communicates.
exactly. But
What
it
the
couldn't
fuck?
come in.
What? It must.
So they
That's
had
insane.
a 3-week long trial and they brought Derrick in. And then there's also these people, and this is just these people's what they're saying. So her mom had seen Derrick before. And she was like, when they walked him in to the trial, like his mom was walking him in and making it look like he was more disabled than he was. Like
Yeah.
I've seen him walk better than that. And his mom was like making him look even more basically disabled, and it just made the jury like you could tell feel even worse for him.
Oh
And
my god.
even the people
'Cause
that
his
were
mom's
on
pissed.
yeah,
She's,
even
like,
the
wiping
people
his mouth.
even the people that were on Anna's side were kind of like, oh, she's toast.
Oh
Like
my
after
god.
seeing that, there's no
Could he
way.
use his what's his thing called? The communication what's it called?
It was the I think the brand of it or whatever it's called, a Neo
Could he
device.
could did he use that in court? Could he use it in court? How did
No,
he
because nothing facilitated communication related was allowed. They weren't allowed to talk about it. They weren't allowed to have an expert come in. They weren't allowed to have yeah, nothing
Wait,
related to it could come in.
did that not blow your mind? That's how he
Yeah, it
communicates.
did because that's so unfair to her. Because
And
that's
him.
the whole basis of her defense, basically, is that that's
Right.
how she knew that he was consenting. So it's
That's
totally
fucked up.
unfair to her. And unsurprisingly, she was found guilty,
Oh my
and she
god.
was sentenced to 12 years in prison. On January 15th of 2016, she was sentenced to 12 years in prison.
What?
But 2 years into her sentence, her conviction got overturned because the court agreed that it was unfair to her
Yeah.
to not have the facilitated communication stuff. And then once it got overturned, she wound up accepting a plea deal for a lesser charge of third degree aggravated criminal sexual contact.
Ugh.
And she was released on time served for that.
So she served 2 years.
She served 2 years, and I'm sure she's a sex offender now. And,
Oh
that
my
completely
god.
ruined her life.
That is absolutely insane. That's insane.
And so she still believes that they had a relationship. And then as far as the aftermath is concerned, Daisy comes on, and that's the mom, and she was like, this she has done so much damage because now Derrick masturbates, and I had to put him on medication
What
because
what medication?
she probably put him on an antidepressant.
The muscle relaxer?
So relaxing.
What the
um
fuck?
Yeah, she put him on medication so he wouldn't masturbate because she was like, he wouldn't be doing that if she hadn't introduced that to him. And now he has an itch that he can't scratch.
She said that.
Yeah.
He's a
And
30-year-old guy.
I know.
Oh my god.
And it's like,
Ugh.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, maybe he didn't ever do that. But I would think I mean, I guess it would depend on how developed your brain is or not,
What
like
if he always
cognitively. But
did? He
that's what
always
I
did,
was
and
thinking.
now it's
It's
just like a
like,
big fuck you to his mom.
now yeah. Now you took away his
You
girlfriend,
took my girlfriend, so clean this up.
and now he's gonna be in there whacking it when you come in
Oh,
to change his
yuck
diaper.
yucky.
But
Oh
yeah, that was another thing that was said in court that I found offensive for people who are disabled, and that is that he couldn't
yeah, that
consent
sh
because he's in a diaper. Like they connected like being in a diaper to being able to consent. I'm like, I'm sure there's plenty of disabled people that are in diapers that can consent to things.
right,
You
right.
know, like
Yeah. Or saying that, like, he's masturbating, like, that's the most, like, appalling, egregious,
Oh, yeah, I
disgusting,
know.
like,
There's nothing wrong with that.
he's a 30-year-old man.
And then where the race thing that comes into play is that, people were feeling like Anna was basically, like, being racist towards the family because she was acting like they weren't educated or something because they were Black, and I don't know.
It's very sad, but I feel like in any case like this, it's like when it's white versus black or black versus white,
Yeah.
no matter what the thing is, like, at hand, it has to come up.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, race has to come up, and someone's going
They're
to
like, "If
say
it was
that
switched, if it was a Black woman and a white guy,
100%,
then what are" I'm like,
100%.
"Okay, I don't know."
It has to come up, like, someone is going to bring it up, even though it has literally nothing to do with it whatsoever.
But I don't know. I really don't know what I think. I don't know if I think because there was what I think is kind of biased is the doctor that like debunked facilitated communication and did that documentary and did those
Mhm,
studies.
mhm.
He's the one that assessed Derrick and determined that Derrick was only 6 to 12 months old in his mind. And I'm like, but that's like biased against your own research that or biased towards your own research that he can't communicate. Like, of course you're going to be like, no, there's no way he can communicate. He's only a 6 month old in his mind because that's what supports your assessment
Yeah,
of the communication. Like,
yeah,
I just thought that was unfair. I wish there was a way for us to know, but there's just like no way for us to know for sure.
yeah. That is insane. I feel like it's all unfair, and I don't know. I feel bad for him, but I don't think what she did is like monstrous. I don't think she.
And that's kind of what I was thinking about today. I'm like, okay, if you commit a crime, but you don't believe that you're committing a crime, like you truly believe in your heart that he's consenting,
Mhm.
it feels really unfair that because there's no way to prove it or not 100% that he was able
Yeah,
to consent. So I don't think it's fair. I mean, I guess the 2 year aggravated criminal sexual contact, I guess maybe, sure. I guess that's fine. I guess that's a fair enough thing, but yeah, I don't know.
I don't know either, and it's kind of hard. It's hard to think that like this because I watched the trailer, so I've seen her that this just like little geeky like teacher
Yeah.
lady, like no record of nothing, no,
And
you
she
know,
seemed like a genuinely good person, like,
yeah.
she with all the work that she did with people with disabilities and all the, like, um
Like, if she had been fired before or, like,
yeah,
reprimanded before or had any, like, misconduct with students or literally
yeah.
anything, the smallest of anything, then we'd be like, "Okay, here she goes again," but, I yeah, I mean, I haven't
And
seen
he
it, but
wasn't her student. Like,
right,
his
right.
brother brought him into the picture,
Yeah.
and so I don't feel like there's anything ethically she did wrong there as far as, like, her career goes, but she'll never be able to teach again.
That's kind of fucked up. Cause also he's not a kid.
Exactly.
You're teaching an adult. I don't think you should be a sex offender. She shouldn't be a sex offender.
I'm pretty sure any sexual crime gets you sex offender list. Even if like you go outside naked and your neighbor sees you and calls the police, you could become a sex offender for that.
That's really crazy.
Indecent exposure or whatever.
It's so crazy that just being naked.
Every time I am
Like,
on a
you're
trail and I have to
accessible.
pee and I go off the side, I'm
Oh,
so
yeah.
scared someone's gonna come up with
Uh-huh.
like a little kid and
Yeah.
they're gonna turn me in and I'm gonna become a sex offender for just having to pee.
Wouldn't that be crazy? And then you're, like, freaking out, so you can't get your pants up fast enough, so you're, like,
Right.
naked for longer.
And then I accidentally pull my shirt up
Yeah,
in the process.
and you just look like a fucking crazy person. And then your life's ruined. And you get, like, pee on them. Oh
Oh,
god.
and
That'd
then
be
that's battery. So
that is very scary,
I'd
honestly.
be I'd be going to prison.
That is scary. Dang, that's crazy. Is this like an hour and a half little thing, or is it multiple episodes? Can I watch it in just, like, a few minutes?
Yeah, it's only an hour and a half, I think.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I feel like you did a very good job, but I wanna see more of her.
I
I wanna
mean,
see
seeing
friends.
her and how she talks and seeing him because he's
Yeah.
in it too. I mean, he's not saying anything, but he's probably thinking some things about his mom. He's probably like cutting side
Yeah.
eye over at her, like
God,
this
fuck you.
bitch took
How
my
old are you
girlfriend away,
again?
man.
When are you gonna die?
I know.
Wow, dang. I'm glad I didn't watch that. I almost watched that this week.
Yeah, I'm glad you didn't.
Um, I forgot that I wanted to bring up that we got like the shortest email of all time, but and then it was also kind of confusing because he's talking like the documentary already came out, but it's from a guy named Keith, and the subject was a new Netflix Peterson documentary. He said, I think it's fair to say we'll all be waiting for a review of this new series. Which,
Yeah.
well, then I was like, shit, I didn't watch it. Like, this is all Deanna's going to talk about this episode, but I forgot it. It doesn't come out till the 20th. He said a lot more new recordings from the early investigation, as well as surprising how early they had everything tracking Scott from the start. Will it be possible to persuade Dee? Probably
No.
not.
No.
But
They
then he said,
only
but he
started
said
tracking him so early because he was the husband. And they're lazy. Cops are lazy.
is this is this just a one night thing? Hopefully, it's not like this week, or it's not like next week and the week after and the week after, right? It's just a one night.
I
I
don't know
can't,
how many episodes it is.
I
I
can't
would
handle
think
that.
it's at least
Or like a
more than
three
one.
night special or something. Hopefully, it's like back to back to back, like a
Let me
banger.
see. Face to face.
Because I
It's
mean,
fun.
we could just talk about this next week. You watch no, we'll watch this one and also the Lacey Peterson one because what a coincidence! There's a new Lacey Peterson documentary on Netflix too. I think we
And
should
I'll
just watch.
debunk everything in that fucking documentary. I'll debunk it. I'll come with facts.
Okay, so should we just watch these and talk about this next week?
Yeah, we could.
Because we're going to talk about it.
Hi, hello from the future. This is editing Deanna. We forgot to explain what the game is. So, what we're doing is we're going to read a couple lines of a song, and then the other person has to finish the lyrics.
Okay, so are you just gonna read? What do you have like multiple lines? You're just gonna read a line, and then if I know it, then I just say the next line.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering. I think I'm going to do like two lines. I'm going to give you two lines of the song,
Okay.
and then you have to finish the rest.
Okay.
I must confess, I still believe. When I'm not with you, I lose my mind.
Oh, give me a sign. Hit me, baby, one more time.
Yes!
Dang, that's actually harder just reading it.
It is. It is. I was worried. So I picked
Oh
like easy
shit,
ones for you.
it scared me. Okay. Look at this photograph.
Every time I do, it makes me laugh. That's funny.
My old manager from the country club dressed up one year as Halloween as it's Chad Kroger, is that the lead singer?
Yeah.
And he dressed up as him and he was just like holding this photograph in a
Oh,
frame.
that's so funny.
It's so funny.
All right. Chill out. What you yelling for? Lay back. It's all been done before.
You know you're not fooling anyone when you become somebody else. Da 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 da. Da. Right?
No.
What?
The next line is, and if you could only let it be, you will see.
Oh, you will see. And then chill. Wait.
I like you the way that you are when
Oh,
we're driving in your car. And you're talking to me one on one, but you
it's
become
complicated, right?
Yeah.
It is complicated.
It is also complicated, yeah.
Okay. Early morning. She wakes up. Knock, knock, knock on the door. It's time for makeup.
Oh, perfect smile. It's you they're all waiting for.
That's it.
I love
I
that we both had a Britney
Googled.
Spears one.
I know. I have an Avril one too, which I shouldn't tell you, but you're definitely gonna know it. Um, I Googled Britney Spears, or I Googled Lucky lyrics, and a fucking Colby Calais song came up.
Oh.
Like, who do you think you are? I've never even heard this.
There's vomit on his sweater already. Mom spaghetti.
Oh my gosh. My man's. Vomit on the sweater already, mom's skitty. He's nervous, but on the surface, he looks calm and ready to drop bombs. But he
Yeah.
keeps not forgetting what he wrote down. I could do the whole song. Okay.
Do it. No, I'm just joking.
People skip forward 5 minutes and it's still me speaking Eminem lyrics. Well, way down yonder on the Chattahoochee.
It gets hotter than a hoochie coochie.
We
All
got
right.
it.
Do you ever feel like breaking down? Do you ever feel out of place?
I don't know these. I don't know this. I
Yes,
know
you
this, but
do.
I do know it, but I don't know it. It's one of those songs where I'm like, "Da-na-na-na-na-na,
Yeah.
da-na-na-na-na," until it gets to the chorus. That's so funny. That's Simple Plan, right?
Yeah, it is.
I was gonna
Welcome
do
to
a
my
simple.
life.
Wow, we're so predictable.
We are.
I'm gonna do a Simple Plan song too. He was a boy.
She was a girl. Could I make it any more obvious?
I'm so excited.
Me too. I was like actually thinking the other day, like I gotta get some stuff to wear because I don't
It's just
normally
in a
dress
few
up for
weeks.
concerts, but I might dress up for this one.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. We're going to see Avril Lavigne next month.
It's gonna be so good. Um, get this party started on a Saturday night.
Everybody's waiting for me to arrive. I hate that song. He's so good
I was like,
though.
I don't know if she likes Pink or not, but I think
I
this song is
have
like in my head.
I have a lot of respect for Pink to like
Hmm.
stay so relevant, and I think she's really cool, but some of her songs they give Black Eyed Peas and I hate it so much.
Oh yeah.
Okay, last one. I don't know if you're going to know this though. It's a little tricky. Even though the gods are crazy, even though the stars are blind, if you show me real love, baby, I'll show you mine.
Oh, that is tricky.
I know. I can make it nice and naughty, be the devil and angel too. Got a heart and soul and body. Let's see what this love can do. Maybe I'm perfect for you. You're
Damn, when
gonna
you say
be.
it like that, it's kind of deep.
It's not deep at all. You're gonna be really mad.
What is it?
Paris Hilton. Stars are blind.
That is tricky.
That
I
does
probably
sound
only
kind of.
listened to that like one time.
Really?
Mhm.
It does sound kind of deep. But when we listen to it, it's na 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 na
La la
na na
la.
na
Yeah.
la 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 la. It's very empty.
All right.
Are you
Well,
done?
that's it. Hmm.
Oh, good. Okay. Thanks for listening. We'll be back next week with a Peterson special.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what we can call it.
Yeah. See you
Okay.
next Tuesday.
Bye.
Bye.